Alright, I want to take just a brief video kind of showing our setup that we have here for feeding our bees. That was relatively simple and easy setup to build. You can see I've got, I don't know, there's roughly almost 80 gallons of 2-to-1 sugar syrup in there. So what I started with here is just it's just a cheap 2-inch trash pump you get from Harbor Freight. I don't know what they cost now, maybe 2.5. And I actually decided to put it all on a palletized skid. I can move it with our skid steer very easily, but you get a 2-inch trash pump. I end up getting just a manual hose reel with a handle on it. This is a really good hose reel. The nice thing about this is it'll actually spin free from the hose itself. Whenever you spin it, it doesn't get all bound up. So this is a really nice hose reel. I believe, looking at it, it's made by a company called Real Craft Industries. I bought used, but I think new they're probably $450. And then of course you've got a tank which at one point in time held a food grade material called propylene glycol. It's a 275 gallon tote, and again, like I said, I put it on a skid. But basically what happens is, out of the bottom of the tank here, I leave that open, this 2-inch tube comes around, goes into the trash pump right here, actually goes up, and you can prime it through this spot right here. And then from there, let me climb up a little bit, it actually pumps up through here and goes into this area here. And I have a T in here, so this right here I can turn on or turn inline, which now feeds over to my my hose assembly itself. And then if not, I have this right here, which if I keep it open, it just if I keep this little valve open, it just goes up into the top of the tank and goes up along to a little bulkhead inside there. And I have, again, about 80 gallons of syrup, but it may be a little bit harder to see, but you can see the pipe comes down and it actually goes across the bottom. It's covered with sugar syrup right now, but it goes across the bottom front edge there. And I have holes drilled in that 2-inch hardline PVC. I think I drilled 1/2-inch holes inside of it, and the spacing's about every 4 to 6 inches apart. So that way what it does is it sprays across the bottom of the tank. So when you're putting sugar syrup in there, it sprays across the bottom of the tank with a pretty good force, and then this drives it to the back of the tank, so which is where the outlet is on the bottom side of the tank. So again, you can mix up as much as 275 gallons of sugar syrup in here at a time. Mainly I like to feed a lot of 1-to-1 throughout the season. Sometimes in the early season, or if I'm really just trying to stimulate bees and not get them to add much weight, I may do more like a 3/4-to-1 sugar syrup. So 3/4-to-1, 1-to-1, even 1.5-to-1 pump really easy. I will say that the 2-to-1 pumps as well, but you know, as you can imagine, 2-to-1 sugar syrup is actually pretty thick stuff. So it actually then the pump does just fine, but you can definitely tell the sugar syrup is a lot more thick at that point in time whenever you're trying to feed that. But ultimately, if I want to put more pressure to my hose, when I open that one up, I can now shut this one down, not all the way, but I can pull it part of the way where I'm still recirculating some of it up and around the tube and recirculating through. But now I can put a little bit more pressure to my hose reel itself, especially when I'm pumping 2-to-1. But I usually always leave it cracked open for the most part, because this 2-inch trash pump has a lot of pressure on it. So I'm still leaving this bypass going. But again, if you really wanted to shut it down, you can turn this thing all the way off, open the small valve here to that 3/4-inch fitting, and then be able to pump just all your pressure to the hose reel itself, kind of depending on what you're doing there. But I usually, again, even, you know, and if I'm just solely mixing it up, I open this one all the way up, close that one off like I do, and then I'll just turn it on, I'll let it pump, and just kind of recirculate right there. Again, the 1-to-1 mixes up pretty quickly. The 2-to-1 takes a little bit longer to break down, but I don't use hot water. I use regular water straight out of my faucet, my outside spigot. put it in there to the desired. I usually fill my water in there first, and depending on the mixture that I'm going with, I calculate out how many gallons of water I need to make, say, 80 gallons of syrup, and at whatever rate I'm going, 2 to 1 or 1 to 1 or 3/4 to 1, and then I calculate out my sugar, and then I go up to our shop and we lift our big we have these huge barrels of sugar that we can get about 150 pounds in each one of them, and then start slowly mixing it up in there, and then letting it mix as we're dumping it in the top. So anyway, that's just kind of a quick breakdown of the pump setup that we've used. I kind of copied a couple other guys a little bit, but also I also made it my own a little bit too. So I've got some quick connects here, and I've got a quick connect up top that I can take all that off if I want to clean it, store it, you know, whatever. As long as you get all the liquid out of it for the winter time down here, you're usually fine. I don't really quote unquote winterize it too much. I just make sure all the liquid's out of it so nothing freezes and breaks anything. But this is my second year using this, and honestly it works really well. If I have to replace the pump, which I'm not concerned about, I actually bought the 2-year warranty with the pump. Anything goes wrong with it for any reason whatsoever, guy said just bring it back in, they'll give us a new one, no questions asked. So anyway, all I have to do is do a couple of things, unhook this, and then I kind of have it fastened down to my skid, so everything is all bolted up to that skid, even my hose reel, so nothing comes off. It all stays on that skid, so it makes it really easy. You know, I would say if you don't have the ability to have a machine, you can lift that tank up on a pickup truck. Usually one man can. It's a little awkward, but you can get it up there. It would need to be empty, of course, and then of course you could probably have this mounted separately to it or sitting free on top of there with the little rubber isolators and have a hose reel or even no hose reel and just use a regular hose. But this is the way I chose to do it. It works really well for me. I'm pretty happy with the setup, and it allows me to feed bees very, very quickly. With one person, I can be in and out of a bee yard of 20 colonies, and honestly probably a matter of 10-12 minutes from start to finish, so it doesn't really take a lot of time to feed. So hope this video helps you guys. Something else worth pointing out here on this pump setup, I just use a 3/4 inch rubber hose that hooks to there, and when I made my nozzle, some of these nozzles are really, really expensive, so basically what I did is I just took let's see, this is a 1 inch, I think, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure this was 1 inch. It has sugar syrup all over it right now, but I just took my regular hose. I put a hose fitting on it to attach to a garden hose that attaches into the threads of this. I got my 1/4 turn shut off. I have about a 6-inch piece of brass, and then if I can do it one-handed here, I just put a little brass. Oh, I'm sorry, this is 3/4 inch. I just put a brass nozzle in it, or a little brass cap on it, whatever. So anyway, it's really easy because I can just 1/4 turn, turn it on, turn it off, slow it down, whatever, and whenever I store it, I just throw it up there like so, and then lock it down so that the hose reel doesn't spin around on me, but it works really well.